So I've been messing around a ton with doing different types of back extension variations. As you guys are familiar with, a common variation of a back extension, a way that you can soup it up and get more out of it, is ultimately like so, basic, okay, and then you have your bar, boom, and then shit like a row with the movement, okay? Well, that's not bad. That's not a bad variation, but it's not that great at the same time. Like, it's not something that I feel like I would realistically incorporate into my training. Mainly because if I want to hit the most extreme back extension movement that I can, I'm going to use the safety squat bar, and here's why. Because ultimately, when you set up on a back extension, you can see I had the pads down lower, and that's mainly because, as of right now, I was training my hamstrings. So as you can see, I'm resting, I'm a lever right now, and my fulcrum is farther away from the effort arm. So the safety squat bar is going to be on my neck. All right, I want you guys to think about that for a second. If I was having the weight down here, as you see a lot of guys do with this back extension deadlift variation, it's good because you can really load up a lot of weight with it. All right, but at the same time, is it the toughest variation you can do? The answer is, of course not, because when the weight's loaded right here, look at how close it is to the hips. So it's not going to be as strenuous as you think it would by looking at the weight. I'll tell you this much, if you've done that movement, try doing that movement with the weight you do down here, up on your neck or up on your upper traps. It is incredibly more difficult. That's something to consider when you're doing your back extensions. Now the main thing, like I was saying, if I'm trying to incorporate two different movements in one, such as a back extension with a row, I'm not going to be able to ultimately pull as much weight in that row, right, than if I was, right, had a little bit of knee bend, okay, so I could get some more glutes into it, a little bit of quads, locked in position right here. This is your power position. This is a much stronger position than if I'm in like a stiff-legged deadlift. So then you got to think, why are you doing certain things? You're not getting the best out of both worlds. If you're doing that, yes, you'll be strengthening your hamstrings, and yes, you'll be working your lats to an extent. But is it more beneficial than just doing a bent over row or a pendlay row or a T-bar row, for instance, the machine where your chest is supported, so then you're taking your glutes and your hamstrings out of it, right? What's going to be better? Or why not just do a back extension and then do a different type of row variation? So that's why I'm not going to mess around with that. It's not worth it. It's not as efficient and beneficial as just breaking it up into two movements. But what is amazing, guys, and this is why I'm making the video, I don't want to be one of these channels that's, hey, today try out this stupid exercise I just created. But I have to, because this is so good. All right? And as you can see here too, I'm making it even better by using this Axial Bar. The Axial I have is 2.5 inches thick, so this thing's a monster. I can hardly even wrap my thumb around it. So, you got two different variations of how you can do it, of course. Now remember too, if you want to work your glutes and your hamstrings more, put the pads lower down. Lengthen the effort arm. All right, and that's going to make it more strenuous on your glutes and hamstrings. Get that tension in your posterior chain. Okay, grab your bar. I have my 2.5 inch thick axle, so I'm working my grip more. And then you're just hanging, boom, brace your glutes, brace your hamstrings, your lower back, curl. What is it, a spider curl, I believe it's called? Okay, so you guys see what's going on right here? Ultimately, the reason that this is such a great movement is because I'm not going to be able to curl much more anyways, right? It's not like if I wasn't in this back extension position, I'd be able to blast out more weight. Yes, I would, but it would take a little more cheat. Like you would get more hips into it, a little bit of legs. Like that makes a big difference when you're curling. I know because I do cheat curls all the time. I understand the power of getting your hips into your cheat curl. Here you can't do that. Here, if you're going to cheat, all you have to do, you can't really use that force from your lower body other than, boom, just having to contract your hamstrings, your glutes, and your spinal erectors harder. And that's a win in my book, because that's why I'm doing this in the first place. Now, why is it great? Because, look at this. Yes, I am just holding position here, static contraction, but ultimately, it's not like this is just one static rep. Because When I'm repping the curl, as you can see, the weight is loaded with my hips, so it's easier on my posterior chain. When I curl it up, it's farther away. It's like what I was talking about earlier with the safety squat bar. It's farther away from the fulcrum, adding a ton of tension to your posterior chain. So now you're getting the best of both worlds, okay? So yes, one static rep, but as I'm curling, little tension, a ton of tension, little tension, a ton of tension. So depending on however you want to do it, slow and control coming down, or if you just want to crank out reps, the stimulus or the tension within the movement is varying as you go. Okay, and then the second variation you can do, if you don't have an axle or whatever, if curling is bothering your wrists or your elbows on a straight bar, do it with dumbbells. Now I put fat grips on these dumbbells here because, as I have talked about before, if you can't grip it, you can't lift it. No doubt about that. Very common knowledge. So, with these dumbbells, with the fat grips, this is something that you can do that you wouldn't be able to do with the axle or just a straight bar, whatever you're using. Easy curl bar, doesn't really matter. Fat grips, dumbbells, boom, locked up, tight position, curl at the same time. As you fatigue, like I'm losing out my posterior chain. Boom, bring it down, and alternate. Now, as you guys know, why does that make a difference? Well, when you have two dumbbells, you're curling at the same time. Remember, that resistance is farther away from the fulcrum, so it's going to increase the tension greatly on your posterior chain. As you can't hold position anymore, repping them at the same time, turn it into an isolateral movement. Right? So now you only have, in this case, these are two 40-pound dumbbells. 40 pounds, the tension is only going to increase by half the amount that it would if I was pulling them up both at the same time. So you guys can see, it's very easy to smash your posterior chain, your biceps, your grip, due to how the tension varies throughout the movement. It's actually a great combination, it's a great complement. So how I'm going to incorporate that in my training is, I'm not going to start with it because that gets very taxing on my posterior chain, but I'm going to end my training sessions with it because I don't really train my arms anyways. Unless I'm specializing with curls, I never really work my biceps. And it's very difficult for me to work my grip either because by the time I'm done with deadlifts or whatever it may be, the last thing I want to do is grip even heavier weight. Like I'm shot by that point, my hands are raw. So this is an awesome way to work the crush grip, not overload your nervous system so much with 400-pound back extension, just to have fun with it as well. So give it a try. Let me know what you guys think.